Hello and welcome to the TMZ podcast. I'm Charlie Cotton, and joining me on the podcast today is our legal Lothario, Derek Kaufman.
I feel like you lured me in because you wore that shirt of you beating me in a foot race outside of our building. It's his favorite shirt. It was your most glorious moment as a human. And I feel like happy in some sense that I gave you that moment. I remember how happy it made you. You're like, I won something. I won an athletic endeavor.
Yeah, I think you and I were debating on our TMZ show who would win a 40-yard dash. And so the whole newsroom went outside to the street and saw me demolish you in a race. And so I got a commemorative T-shirt made. It's called The Race That Stopped the Press. Cotton v. Kaufman. That was 3 years ago. Oh my God.
I won't hold up the podcast too much. It's a deceptive angle. The race was very close. And that man, if you look at the date, that's a 41-year-old man, just like a gazelle. Against this man in the prime of life in his long pants, though it's still kicking my ass.
The Olympics are coming up. Maybe we could do we could do a decathlon, me and you.
Decathlon.
That'd be good. Okay, on to our news. We're going to talk about Jamie Foxx because he just opened up to what looks like just a crowd of fans somewhere, and he tells them that everything that happened to him health-wise, it all started with a headache. So that actually makes me a bit worried because I get headache. You know what I mean? Like, it's very relatable.
Yes, as you age, you get concerned about any little nagging body thing.
Right. We'll talk about Tuah girl because she's speaking out for the first time. She appeared on a podcast, and there's a lot of myths about her that I took as a given, but she's going, no, that's wrong, that's wrong. And so it's interesting just to hear from this girl who's basically the viral sensation of 2024.
How are you going to do Jamie Foxx like that? You're like, after Jamie Foxx seriously talks about his health scare, and then we got Tuah on board.
I bet Jamie Foxx loves Tuah. Our almost news segment at the end, the Kroy Biermann, of Kim Zolciak's ex-husband fame, he is in big trouble now because of his aggressive dog that was on the loose.
We'll get into it. I've read these documents. I wouldn't say big trouble, but trouble.
But to begin with, Ben Affleck and J.Lo, not only are they selling their $60 million home, but they're selling the contents within. Wow. It's like a garage sale. Everything must go.
When you're pulling the art off the walls, it's donezo.
Right.
And, this is a very expensive house, $60 million Beverly Hills mansion. I think once it's $60 million, you got to just call it a mansion, call it what it is.
Yeah.
They also have lots of fine art. I mean, these are two very wealthy people, and apparently they are selling some of the art. And, we've looked for all these sort of indications that this is truly over. I think when you start taking stuff off the walls and selling the contents off, it's really done. I mean, I think him moving out of the house, that was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Good one that when you're not living together.
But it can be salvaged, you say. You'd be salvaged.
Harvey always talks about there's some couples who live separately and it actually helps the marriage. And I'd like to look into it. I don't know.
I bet you would.
It always sounds very appealing in some ways, but they're selling the art. I mean, this is truly a split. I'm wondering if this makes it seem sort of more rancorous or more mature. Like, once you're like, sell this, I don't even want to look at it, it reminds me of Ben. Does that mean there's harder feelings, or it's just a mature way to move on? We get rid of the art, we split the money, and we go separate ways.
It's interesting because they haven't been together forever. They've been together a number of years now. How much art, which is, I'm sure it's very valuable art. I don't know if they've got a Monet or a Picasso in there. Probably not.
They probably got good stuff.
But they've probably got good stuff. So how much...
I don't think it's Archie comics on the wall, cut out from newspapers.
That they kind of accumulated that much art together for them to be selling off now. So are they selling off their personal pieces that they brought to the home? Or it's just I just taking something off the wall and saying, I'm not going to keep it, you're not going to keep it, so let's sell it.
That's a great question. You're right. They weren't together that long. The marriage was not long-term, and they both came into it with massive amounts of wealth and belongings. And I'm sure there's some sort of prenup that has, when you're a lawyer, you draft up schedules, and the schedule says, here's all of my stuff. And you literally do an inventory. You list it out. This Picasso, this thing, my old, my old outfits from Goodwill Hunting. Everything is listed.
And then both of them have well, I want that. And the other one goes, no, well, I want that.
Right.
And if you both want it, then maybe you sell it if you can't come to an agreement?
Yeah, if there's a community asset, you often will have some sort of term in the deal that says you either agree to who gets it or you sell it and split the proceeds. There's different ways to structure it, but they're very rich. They had very fancy lawyers. I think they were mature enough to know that if this sours, we got to make sure that this isn't too messy. And I'm sure there are ways of figuring out how to split their things up. But the art is often a big deal. Like, I remember
it's sentimental.
It's sentimental, and it's also quite valuable if you have good art. Like, I remember Scooter Braun's divorce had massive lists of art. And we looked at it and I was like, holy cow, this guy's way richer than I ever imagined.
Right.
But fine art is a huge part of prenups because that's one of the most valuable things you have other than real estate.
J.Lo loves the headlines and she loves like doing these funny little bits to get attention. She should honestly just this Sunday get a bunch of boxes, fill them out, put them on the front yard with a sign, everything everything must go.
Yeah.
That would be like kind of hilarious.
Throw the stuff from his closet out the window on the lawn, just strewn around. Really get ugly.
Right.
Make things get a little bit messy because I do think it would generate some clicks. We'd be quite interested.
Where are they selling this art though? Otherwise,
you got to go to like Sotheby's or Christie's. I mean, I don't think you sell art at a rummage sale like you're imagining. Right. Although sometimes people say like, "Oh man, I found this like artifact at a garage sale and got it for $2 and it's worth $2 million."
Like Antiques Roadshow.
Like Antique Roadshow, yeah. But I think they probably have fancier stuff and they're not going to do that. But my, I don't know what to say about like where they go from here. Like now they need to kind of speak. I'm at the point where it's like,
why haven't
they
come out?
Selling the art. You've moved out of the house. You've yelled at the paparazzi. We've seen indications that you're like not together. She's been on vacation without you. I don't understand not putting a statement out there because if you don't put a statement, we're gonna read every tea leaf. Oh, they're selling the art.
Right.
They canceled the gardener. Like it's like we're gonna look for everything. So just say it, and then people will have less interest in following these little tea leaves. Don't you think?
Do they want us to be following the tea leaves, or do they think there's some chance they might salvage it?
I don't know. I think that's a genuinely open question because when you're in a marriage, like you don't throw it all away because of a fight. And so maybe there's a hope of reconciliation. I think they've gone pretty far down the road of like maybe not a reconciliation, but that's the question in everyone's mind is like, is there hope because they're not saying anything, or are they not saying anything because J.Lo likes the headlines about the tea leaves and she just wants to like keep the drama going? I don't know.
I'm bored of the story now.
Ben doesn't like the drama, man. Like
I don't think
I believe him on that.
Okay, on to our next story. Jamie Foxx is shedding more light on the sequence of events leading up to that mysterious ailment that landed him in an Atlanta hospital last year. Let's listen to this clip now of him talking to, what seems to be just fans at like a cafe, and he's answering their questions.
Well, April 11th last year, bad headache. Asked my boy for an Advil. Gone for 20 days. I don't remember anything. Wow. So they told me, I'm in Atlanta, they told me. My sister and my daughter took me to the first doctor. Did the cortisone check. Next doctor said, something going on up there. I won't say it on camera, but I'll say it.
So if you couldn't hear it, he says, look, April 11 last year, bad headache. I asked my boy for an Advil. I was out for 20 days. Doesn't know what happened in that 20 days. He woke up and was told that his daughters had taken him to a hospital.
He does say there was something going on up there, and if you watch the video, he's pointing to his head. And the indication is that some sort of brain event. There's different types. You can have what's called a TIA, which is like a mini stroke. You can have a true stroke where blood flow is lost to the brain. He's recovered so beautifully, though. He speaks so well. There doesn't seem to be any deficit. A lot of times after an event like that, you'll notice somebody is just different. They speak differently. They may have like impairments to the way they pronounce certain words. Doesn't look like that with Jamie. This looks like as close to a full recovery. I also want to do the QRC code on his shirt.
That's all I'm thinking.
That's all I'm thinking about. He's got a QRC code.
A QR code, big one on his T-shirt, and I actually did put my phone up to it to see where it links me to, but I guess it's too blurry, the video. But
I know.
He's probably trying to push something.
It's got to be. I mean, he is such a good promoter of things, and he's so talented. It's so good to just sort of see him in his element and back and engaging with fans because there's a lot of concern. I think the interest in this story wasn't of the nature of like, oh, I want to watch a car wreck. It was like genuine concern, right?
Yeah,
like when Jamie went down as a treasure and like people were really upset about it. I know I was like, this is a guy who is like, every time he's on screen, you just like in awe of his talent. He can sing, he can dance, he can act.
We talked about him before this and still to this day as maybe the most talented person across so many genres. He might have like the pinnacle of the most talented man in America.
Yes, and likable. I've always found him like very engaging and likable, unlike sort of like other actors who like they're good, you're in awe of their talent, but you don't like them as much. They feel like, oh, that guy's probably a jerk. I always like Jamie Foxx.
Well, here he is now. He's man of the people, just taking questions from fans at a cafe. You know what I mean? Like, he's a great guy.
It's funny for it to come out this way because he has held it so tight to the vest, and then someone in a cafe is like, hey, what happened? He's like, oh, I'll tell you all about it. I got an Advil. I was out 20 days. It's like, this is an odd way for it to bubble out, but it's very Jamie Foxx.
Okay, Hawk Tuah girl is speaking out for the first time. She appeared on a podcast called Plan Brie. And yeah, she talks a lot about how this whole viral thing came about and what she's been doing since. Let's have a listen now.
Okay, so I deleted all my social media like 6 months ago due to like personal reasons. I never really got on it or anything like that.
Oh, okay. So it didn't have anything to do with this?
Oh, no. I was long gone before that.
Oh, so you were already gone from social media. And everyone thought that you deleted your social media because you were, like, scared of all of this blowing up. But you were gone.
I've been gone from it.
So
like,
are you going to come back?
I think we're working on that right now.
I think she is back on social media.
I think she's back. She's been posted up a storm because I followed her. I found her a very interesting character.
I'm sure you did.
I do. You announced her as Hawk Tuah girl, and that is certainly what she is known as. Her name's Hailey Welch, and I wonder whether the true mark of someone breaking out of their viral moment is when they're now known by their name.
No.
And that hasn't happened yet. It definitely happened for Danielle Bregoli. She was the Catch Me Outside girl. You rarely hear someone call Danielle Bregoli the Catch Me Outside girl. She is Danielle Bregoli. She is an artist in her own right. You might remember her origin story, but Hide Your Kids, Hide Your Wife became Antoine Dodson for a minute.
Oh,
but now he's back to Hide Your Kids.
What about Yodel Kid? What was
Yodel Kid? I think is Yodel Kid. Do you know Yodel Kid's name?
No, Mason someone, actually.
It is Mason. It's something.
He's doing
Mason
really
Dixon?
well.
No, that's a Mason Dixon line. I don't know.
But this meme, this viral thing was so big, I don't think we're going to know her as Hailey Welch, unless she has like some amazing next chapter. And I mean, she's got it in her. She's 21 years old. She's pretty. She's funny. She wears a great hat.
She's good on her feet. I mean, the whole thing, the genesis of this was she was asked an interview in the street. And these guys go outside of bars and they get drunk girls and they ask them like provocative questions. She's there with a friend who has also gone into social media. I don't know her name. And she didn't answer a question in a way that was engaging enough, but she was answering questions too, if you've ever seen the whole clip. And then she asks her friend, she's patting her on the back, and she delivers the Hawk Tuah moment, and you're just like, man, she's good. She had a sense of like the moment, and she delivered it with like sort of feeling and passion, and that's why it went viral. So I think she might have the goods, right? It's like she was put on the spot. It wasn't sort of like Hide Your Kids, Hide Your Wife, where he was like sort of asked a question after something in an apartment building.
Yes.
Here, she was trying to be funny and was funny.
Right.
So do you think that means she's talented?
I definitely think it does. And I think that she will have some sort of career now, and good luck to her. I was wondering, like, man, her parents, her dad must hate it, man. But she says that her parents know the sort of comedic silly Billy that she is.
Yeah. The thought was her dad's a preacher. She says that's not true.
Right.
She's like, he's the furthest thing from a preacher. Even if you're not a preacher, your daughter being known as Hawk Tuah, I'm going to spit on that thing, is a tough moment for a father. I don't care if you're a preacher or not. You have a daughter. I have a daughter. It is not what you want to hear.
Another rumor she dispelled is a lot of people thought she was a teacher and got fired from her job, but no, she's just 21, so she can't be a teacher yet.
Yeah.
And also,
so she works in a spring factory.
She works in a spring factory, she said? What does that even...
I didn't know there were still jobs in America at a spring factory.
Is that for like beds?
My guess is it would be like springs, like little metal springs for beds. I mean, springs have a lot of uses. Maybe she's making smaller springs for watches. I don't know. But I didn't know that you could still have a factory job like that. I assumed all springs were made in other countries at this point because we don't have manufacturing jobs anymore. But she works at the last spring company.
I want a reality show with her just working at the spring factory and what must go on there.
She will 100% get some sort of reality show deal.
Yes.
You have to at least take a flyer on it.
Yes, I would have thought so too. Okay, on to our almost news. Kroy Biermann, Kim's husband or estranged husband, he got a ticket because his dog is too aggressive. There's this dog named Stone, and he's a 3-year-old Cane Corso. That's a type of Mastiff. That's a muscly brute of a dog. And the dog got loose. And this lady's saying that he got out of the gate. She said the dog tried to tackle and attack her son while he was riding on a scooter. So the cops came and they found out it was the Biermann's dog. And Kroy's saying, look, the gate that was supposed to keep the dog in was broken. Yeah, he got out. But this is not the sort of, this isn't like a Jack Russell or Pomeranian or sort of
dog.
This is a big, hefty dog.
And what jumped out to me, I read these documents yesterday. He did end up getting a citation for dog at large, I believe it's called, because when you have a large animal and you live in a neighborhood, you got to keep it contained or on a leash when you're out and so forth. There's laws for this. It's a ticket. But the gate is broken. And to me, this is the biggest indication. This house, which is like often on the brink of foreclosure, they're just in trouble. And the gate's all busted. The dog can get out.
But why fix the gate if your house is going to be foreclosed anyway? Just leave it unbroken.
It's a good point. You ever seen houses in foreclosure? They're not in great shape.
Right.
Oftentimes, they're like very upset it's happening, and you let everything go to waste. And I'm worried that the house is starting to show some wear and tear, and this dog is just like running out in the neighborhood, terrorizing the neighbors. Kroy doesn't deny that the gate's broken. He's like, it probably got out, but he did say it wasn't like patrolling the neighborhood. It's right there in front of us. We'll just bring him inside. But they cut him a ticket anyway because you can't have a neighbors calling and saying this dog's trying to tackle me.
But maybe they're just like goody two shoes neighbors who just like got a beef axe to grind. You know what I mean? Like
people are scared of big dogs. I mean, I don't know because I've seen pictures of this dog and some dogs can be a little scary, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a man with little dogs.
Yes,
you're,
little blind dogs.
Ollie not scaring.
There's no threat. You don't have dogs, do you? You have cats.
I don't. I had cats. I had 2 cats.
R.I.P.
I can Mamie, man. Dwight D. Eisenmeyer and Mamie Eisenmeyer. Yeah.
What?
R.I.P. Well, we might get another one. Nixie really wants a cat. Anyway, that's off topic. But it's these types of stories. They're just constantly dealing with police officers these days. Whether it's like called over because they're having a huge fight and Kim's barricaded herself in a bedroom, or he has dogs getting loose. Life is in a little bit disarray for them.
They're not J.Lo and Ben. They're probably a few steps down the rungs from J.Lo and Ben, and in the animosity as well.
Well, the funny thing is Ben was able to move out, I'm sure, into another $10 million place. Kroy just has to live in the marriage suite.
Right.
He's got to change the locks on his own bedroom, but they have to live under the same roof. So it's a very different income bracket.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining me on the pod today, Derek.
Always fun.
And we'll see you guys here tomorrow. Goodbye.